Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we look at a report that states Germany have put homes back into major lockdown over a possible second spike of the dreaded lurgy.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration. Rotten politics in this country at the moment.
Personally, I think there may be much more to this, but let's read and I'll explain why. It's in the Express. It's titled, Germany Panic. Berlin on alert as hundreds of homes put in quarantine. Major lockdown. Hundreds of homes in Berlin have been placed into quarantine after dozens of people tested positive for the deadly lurgy. Now, as you can see by that headline, things aren't too good, are they, in Germany? And don't forget, Germany were one of the first to ease lockdown. Not that that's a factor. In my opinion, this is. This is Berlin, BLM. Look at that. I guarantee this will not have helped. And every one of them should be very, very worried. Or should they? Let's read. Germany was one of the first countries in Europe to begin easing lockdown restrictions after weathering the first wave. They reported 8,805 deaths and 188,044 cases. But now authorities in Berlin have placed 368 households under quarantine as more people test positive amid fears of a second wave. I wonder how many of them were at that protest. The outbreak involves homes across 7 different locations with at least one home housing 10 people. Wow, that's a difficult name. Dilek Kalesi. That's definitely wrong. I would normally apologise, but he's EU, so sod him. Berlin's top health official. Oh no, he's not. He's German. Oh, I'll let you off with that one then. Sorry. Urged people to use the government's tracing app, which was rolled out today, to help fight against a new outbreak and contain the spread of the virus. Health Minister Jens Spahn echoed the comments from the health official and said, "This app is no cure-all. It doesn't give you a free ride, but it is an important tool to contain the pandemic. I'd rather test too many than test too few." Although developers have claimed the app is not perfect. So what's the point then? German officials believe the tracing app is so secure a government minister could use it. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. If Piers Morgan can hack someone's private messages, you really think a government can't do much worse? Oh my lord. Much like the UK's Test and Trace app, which no one will take on unless they're absolute idiots, in my opinion. Experts say finding new cases is the way to clamp down on fresh outbreaks. Don't take your phone out. However, some governments in Europe have met legal and cultural hurdles due to the continent's strict data privacy standards. Yeah, because it'd be a massive invasion of your privacy, wouldn't it? And your freedoms, in my opinion. In Germany, a person's right to their own data, even after death, is part of the country's constitution and have proved a challenge for the tracing app. We need a constitution written down on paper collated into one place. Frederick Richter, who heads the Independent Foundation for Data Protection, claimed tracking someone in real time reminds them of China and its surveillance system. Yep, credit score system. Mr. Richter also referenced the country's own history of dictatorships where vast amounts of information were collected to persecute people. He said, "That's why we have always been very sensitive in Germany when it comes to state collecting information on its citizens." Developers said their test showed a 80% success rate, but warned 20% of close contacts were not flagged. I don't see the point in it then. I mean, if it's not 100%, it's not worthy of it, is it? Björn Grunewalder, spokesperson for the Interior Ministry, defended the app's security standards for top-tier officials. He said, "I presume that from their side, there can be an unreserved recommendation to members of the federal government to use this app." However, Linus Newman, the spokesman for Europe's largest hacker association, they've already put it out of the Germany's Chaos Computer Club, said they cannot guarantee someone won't find a weak spot. Exactly. Anything that's designed by man is not perfect because we are not perfect. Mr. Newman said, "We can't guarantee that someone won't find a weak spot in the code tomorrow, but we can say that these weak spots will have a lower overall risk than if the German government had pursued a centralised approach." Really? Does it really matter who steals your personal information, and whether it be a centralised government or a company? Does it really matter? It's still a theft of your personal details, is it not? Absolutely ridiculous. According to recent reports, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has been warned failure from Germany to ensure the European Union financially recovers from the deadly outbreak would be a major threat to the future of the bloc. Germany will take over overseeing fraught discussions on the next 7-year common budget, as well as the debate on the rescue fund. And they're massively down on that. They're never going to come up with this. They're never going to be able to agree. We've seen what they're doing at the minute. It's just clutching at straws. Rainer Hoffmann, the head of German Trade Union Confederation, insisted Chancellor Merkel must take up responsibility or witness the future of the European Union come under further threat. Speaking to France 24, Mr. Hoffmann said it's absolutely necessary that the German government has to take up its responsibilities it's agreed in the coalition agreement on the future of Europe. Germany has to spend more towards the European Union. Germany has the responsibility that we get out our own fiscal capacity. Mr. Hoffmann added, the multi-annual financial framework will be handled under the German presidency. This has to become a success. If this is a failure, I think Europe will be at risk, and this is not good for German citizens, and it's not good for European citizens. So, I was right. It's not going well in Germany, is it? Now, what's my opinion? I think this is Project Fears on steroids, personally. I mean, I may be wrong, but this is what it's sounding like. German people mostly are worried about track and trace, as are we. It's a huge invasion of our privacy, not alone if it does turn into a credit score system, which it will. You know, power increases power. It'll also remove our freedoms as well, won't it? You see what I mean? As a result, voluntary acceptance of track and trace will be too low to control us, scare us into it. Also, here the last section, Germany has to spend more towards the EU, and there we have it. In my opinion, we know Germany don't agree with bailing the EU members out, don't we? We also know the EU are doomed without a massive injection of cash just because of the budget alone for the next 7 years. Does this not stink of scientists are scared we can't collaborate over lurgy, or we should rejoin the EU for safety, or get the social credit score app or we die? Sorry, I mean the track and trace. It's bullshit, or it seems it to me. But I may be wrong. We shall see if this is a second wave. 368 households in Germany have been put on full lockdown. So Europe is watching, to be honest, as will be all the virtual signalling protesters. What are your thoughts, everyone? I'd like to know what your opinion is on this. Do you think they're actually going to be getting a second spike? Do you think it is a second spike from maybe the protests with all the people shoulder to shoulder? Do you think it's just more Project Fear, but from the Germans to try and scare the German people into doing as they're told? Because that's the second is what I actually think it is. But I would like to know. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, everyone.